Um, rightio. Yeah, so good work. I'm not sure if you were trying to impress me, but you did. Good job. Um, but but I would also say so this sorry I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say but. I should say and right. So you impressed me. The only thing I'm thinking is once you get to 20 or 30 clients, you don't need to impress me, right? So I think it's a good exercise to go, here you go, Ben, have a go at that, right? You did a lot of stuff that I would never do, right? So good for yourself, probably keeping your back pocket. So that's what I thought it might be good just to talk through,
Sure.
and that way you could kind of work out, as I said, there was a couple of add-ons and stuff. But yeah, let's start through. So what I was just doing at the moment, and some of it's just the practical stuff. It's not actually anything that you can control from your end. I think there's an element of you might have sort of font style slightly different. I haven't noticed. It's funny because I've been surprised that other marketers so far, when they've gone to try and create the Word document, the font style hasn't knocked out because they haven't got the same font style as what our brand is, right? So it's
Mm.
pretty common in the past, in my experience, that that's happened. And it's happened here when you've shared it back to me. Clearly, the font style is different, so there's only so much you can do for me, if that makes sense, in terms of that side. So I think I'll go through today what the real important stuff is that we could do, and then there's certain things you used to go to say, well, Steve, I've done everything I could do in my powers, with my current systems and that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because you
When
might
you
have
say,
heard,
when you
yeah,
talk,
yeah.
sorry, when you talk about the font, are you talking about that you guys use like, is it Gothic or whatever it like? Where are
The
we?
actual
Is it?
brand style, right? So yeah, so it's built into that Word document, but for some reason, if your Word setup doesn't have, how let me just show you. So our somewhere in this, you'll find our style
Are
guide,
you
right? Yeah,
are you talking about the Are you talking about
I'm
the
talking about in the
proposal?
proposal. It's only the proposal. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
So
yeah.
I'm not worrying about
That
the other
might.
stuff yet. Yeah,
Okay, right, cool. That might be a case of, yeah, I don't have Gothic, whatever
yeah,
you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
use. Go
So
ahead.
so so then on that basis, it sort of becomes, well, what do we do? What's the best practice? As I said, I'm impressed if you just at least give me, the basic stuff that's in there, and then I can just, with everybody so far, what I've been doing is I tell them don't PDF it. It's kind of no point PDFing because I can guarantee even I make mistakes and miss things and all that sort of stuff. So straight away, it's advantageous having two eyes on it, right? So you've gone through it, done your best to sort of pick up, particularly when we're
Mm.
copying a different one and then pasting it in, guaranteed. I can see it straight away. You've got plumbing and gas fitting services for this guy, and guaranteed that happens, right? It's just
Did I? I thought I went through that.
and
I
often,
thought.
as I said, it's just why there's no point PDFing it. That's all. So just so you know.
All right,
So
fair, all
just
good.
for your benefit, the first thing I do before we look at the audit, the first thing that I do is, if I go, actual fact, well, I go here, right, just to show you, I go to proposals, and within
Did I?
proposal, yeah.
Did I date it wrong? Did I do it
Oh, you did.
backwards?
Yeah,
Was
you
I?
dated it wrong, but we overcame that in the end. So yeah, that was just you still living in 2019. That's like wishful thinking, right? Um, yeah. So I updated the date to 2011, and I don't know if that's had an effect on me being able to save it, right? But anyway, there's a couple of things where I found it hard to do certain things that I normally would. But the first step is
Okay.
to go to this document here, right? And I
Mm,
duplicate this Word doc, right? So this is our document, and I've already
mm,
duplicated it for you, and I've called it. So all I do is just change the end part, but this is really for
mm,
us, right? So we use here. So I've got this open, right? And the first thing I go in there because it's blank to start with, and I go and put the date backwards. I put choice
mm.
cleaning services. And here, and even just for consistency to know that I've seen it, I'll probably put the brackets on the end that you're in WA, right? So, um, yeah, so basically that's how we name the files. That's the first thing, right? But then I also use it as a step through in terms of, well, once we get to talking. Initially, I only had this more so for the setup, right? But then I realized actually, in fact, there's advantages to us doing stuff before the setup day. As I said, in terms of how we even talk through that. To a
Mm.
degree, that might pick up on, and then it's just my cut and paste doc, right? So I've sort of put a few cut and paste in there, right? So that's what I'm using to update the other side of things. So yeah, so what you'll see now in the dated correctly folder is that that text doc sits up the top. right? So you can open
Yep.
that from your end, and that's what you'd have each time. You'd have it clearly. It's the same document, but it just depends on the client, right? So Ben, Joyce,
Yep.
whatever it is, right? You don't share that with them. You basically share some of the details in it, but you don't share that text. They could probably see it because ultimately they'll share the Dropbox. But yeah, and
Yeah,
then
maybe we won't go into it.
yeah. So then what I did, okay, so clearly the next step is to look at the audit. And so I'll just step you through that audit, right? So as I said, there's some good stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff that we wouldn't normally do, but that's okay. It's better to have an oversupply than an undersupply, right?
Mm.
And so for some reason, so I've saved it. See how I've saved this document as per the
Yeah.
file name? And yet, for
Yeah.
some reason, when I open it, it still calls it the old name, business name, right? So it'll be interesting to see what you've got. And there's another problem I've got, which I'll talk to you about in a second, right? Which I don't know why. I've not seen it happen before. Usually my Adobe, I don't even know how I've got this kind of slightly more professional version of Adobe that enables me to do certain things. But
Mm.
unfortunately, on this document, I feel like there's a lock or something on it that's not letting me do certain things.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the first thing we do is we always start with, we just put the name in the Google up the top there, Choice Carpet Cleaning, right?
Mm.
And then that's always our first thing because remembering you're talking to a tradie here, right? So
Mm.
hence for a start, you'll notice straight away this is now it's only the first 11 pages I want you to share with him, not the rest, because basically it just becomes too much, right? So even this, when you're talking to them and when you're sitting in an audit, they start to glaze over, right? So you're really sort of in that sort of the way I'm sort of letting you know how we actually talk through this audit. Initially you would be saying, okay, how are you? What's his name?
Wayne.
How are you, Wayne? How you having a good day? You've already had a one-to-one with him, so you don't have to do too much on the sort of rapport side of things, right? Then you would just be going into, oh, look, the first thing we do is we put your business into the search engines, right? We want to see what's coming up. And congratulations, this is good. It's good to see that you've got a Google My Business already. And wow, you got 40 Google reviews. That's awesome. Interesting, there's not even any ads appearing over the top of you. Interesting, your Facebook's reasonably high, which is, I don't know if you're doing much there. But yeah, so there's a little bit of good stuff that we can see in this by what you're doing. So we've clicked then through, we've now gone to your website. We suggest websites in a certain way. Good. Again, you've got a couple of icons up there. That's good from a social proofing. I don't know if you tested this, whether or not they click out to a new tab. Do you
They
know?
do. They
Good,
do.
excellent. So again, you'd be saying that. Great job, awesome stuff. So there's a lot of stuff we can work with here. You got plenty of content for us. We love that. We can share that. I've gone to your LinkedIn. Look, there's a lot of great. You've got a LinkedIn, and that photo is consistent with other things. Shows you off, but there's the stuff that we can make you a lot more searchable, a lot more professional, right, from a personal perspective. Yeah. Then we look at we notice you don't have a LinkedIn company. We like to make our people look bigger than as big as we can, right? So we create the LinkedIn company side of things. I've had a look at your social media page. You're doing a lot of things right here in terms of the way it presents, except that this photo is brilliant up in your cover. I love it. Great job. The only thing is here, this one's where your logo goes, right? So this is where you put your logo. You want people starting to really recognize your choice logo, right, with things, yeah? I usually only put one photo of Facebook, but I like the fact, I think you had three. So the next thing you might say is, I see the last time you posted was back in October, right? So what we'll do is give you a habit of posting at least twice a week, 3 times a week, and we'll have your ads running sort of thing, right? So that's the other slide. If you were going to do a second slide for Facebook, because it's our main one, you've already done that one, which enables you to talk about habit, right? And most businesses don't have a good habit when it comes to social. Instagram, again, with this one, you say, it's good you've created it, but clearly there's no activity. So, yeah, we'd be able to help you with that in terms of making sure that, you get some activity and some habit happening there. Otherwise, people might be wondering whether you're actually still open, right? Right. Twitter, you couldn't find Twitter, I don't think, yeah? No Twitter?
No, there's nothing.
No Twitter.
There's
So,
nothing on
so
Twitter.
great, you've done exactly right thing, though. You've searched it there, you've shown what you've done. I can't find it. Hey, this is an asset for you. You may as well create it. You may as well own it. You may as well own the name. So again, you've done the search. This is where I put the Google. What I usually do is take a screenshot of the Google place. Then it shows, a business like this, they've got the 40, and you can always share. I put it in here that more often than not, they don't have this Google Map link, which is the one they use to get reviews. That's the one they should have as the Google icon on their website, right? so that people can easily review them and they can easily show people where they're located and all that sort of stuff, right? Yeah. And
Okay.
then you did a couple of screenshots to find the choice cleaning, and I think even in I saw your document there was some information around,
So they have a YouTube. So yeah, they have a YouTube
we've
channel,
got a
which is
YouTube
great.
channel. Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah,
But the thing is, but if you type in choice cleaning services into YouTube, it comes up with 3 different channels,
yeah.
which
At least
is
one of them is
you know
theirs. Oh, okay. It looks
yeah.
like they've got 3. You're right. So that's because that just shows they've got no clue what they're doing, right? So that's typical.
It just shows that they've tried it before, didn't work, tried it again, didn't work, and then tried it a third time and got it up and running. So they've got
Yeah,
3 different accounts.
yeah. And for your knowledge, what it often also means is Wayne is probably one of those. The other one is actually
Choices was
yeah. So he would have done a personal one as choice cleaning. He would have done a brand one as choice cleaning, which that's the most common mistake, right? And then he's got his personal one. There's a C where they never completed it, right? So clearly with that one, they started doing something and then didn't work. And so again, great for you is because it's too easy for us to tidy that stuff up. That's no worries at all. We'll make sure the one that's got the logo is the one you should be using. I see at the moment that you've put all your videos on the other one. So we'll need to work out which ones we probably need to keep the one in the middle, because I think the one, as I said, I reckon the one above is probably a personal profile
yeah.
that's got the logo on, and we just need to reverse that around. We'd probably put his face on the other one, and we'd call it Wayne or something.
Yeah.
That's probably the issue. Yeah, and then this other stuff. This is, as I said, it impressed me, but it's kind of extra work that you could always keep in your back pocket, and you might feel like you can do now. I mean, probably
This
some of
is
the
just
stuff. Yeah,
this is just a personal thing where I sat down and was like, I want to make it look professional to try and make it stand out
yeah.
for Wayne. So Wayne sits there and goes, wow, he's actually professional, and goes through and actually presents a document. But that's just personally on me.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Like,
give him any of that, because whilst it may, I reckon you're going to look professional enough with the proposal, and Wayne will just be, it's over servicing and it's over the top. So you won't be able to do this when you've got 25 plus clients, I can tell you now, right? So in terms of, and even as I said, it's too much for them, right? I'm too much for most, I can just tell you from experience. I remember Wayne's roughly my age, yeah?
yeah, give or
Thereabouts,
take,
yeah?
yeah. Give or take, yeah.
It's just, the fact that he's even talking to you, that's the first thing, right? So in other words, the old saying, keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah.
So we just need to, because this just shows you, as I said, this impresses me because I'm a marketer, right? Oh, fuck. Ben's done a bloody SWOT analysis, for fuck's sake, right? But this is this is keep in your back pocket sort of stuff. And yes, if you've got time to do it at the moment, then feel free. But I wouldn't ever share it with them. You keep a copy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not. I'm happy for us to have a conversation. It's not to say that. Yeah, I mean, just purely from a brand perspective, if we were going to do it, we'd put it on. So even if we were having a cover page, we'd make sure the cover was on a thing. But
On brand.
in the past, I've done it where I put the model on the front of this, right? But as I said, because of the proposal, even the proposal, that's deliberately a short document, right? Effectively, it's got a pricing and it's got a what are we going to do, right?
Yeah.
That's the main 2 things, plus the model as an attachment. So yeah, as I said, brilliant, great stuff. I think as far as anybody goes, so you've done more than most, as far as when people have done it, and you've done it really kind of unguided. The only thing that, as I said, that I added was this one.
So what? So hold on a sec. Is this when you go into Google? Is this when you type into Google Maps, like choice cleaning services?
Yeah. So the easy way to get to it, and what I did is I did the search, and you click on this red button. You click on that, and that gives you the screen, which is the where your shareable button is, right? It's the map. Yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to have a look at this. I just want to have a look at this for
I know
myself,
how you can
just so
do it.
I.
Yep. Cool.
Cool. Okay. Fair. All right. Yeah. Cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
Fair
So
enough. I
what
just know
you've
that from.
done, which is good, you did it in the order, in fact, which makes sense, because you've done it in our sort of icon and the way we often tweak order.
Yeah.
Which is right. But when we do the audit, we do it slightly different, because, and in a way, it's kind of weird because, but but we figure that if we do a search for their name, it'll bring up not just the social media, it'll bring up, the website, it'll see what comes up with the map and all that sort of stuff. So that's the stepped out order. It's Google, website, personal LinkedIn, LinkedIn company, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the Google My Business, which you've already found. Look, that's a 50-50 thing with the Google My Business. It is good that he's got it, right? And it's impressive that he's got 40 reviews. Tradies often are pretty good because sometimes they might use a booking type like what do they call it? High form, something or other, which is a combination review and booking type software. It's about 340. It's about the same cost as what we are, right? But often if they've got something like that, then that gets them the reviews, right? And that's why often they also have a Google My Business. But yeah, and then YouTube is the last one. More often than not, it's be less than 20% have a properly set up YouTube. And sometimes it's companies you'd expect to have it, right? The amount of companies that have fucked up their YouTube is incredible, right? And haven't completed it properly. Because I've had I don't now. I think Google My Business, ever since it got rid of Google Plus, Google My Business now is my friend. I like it a lot, right? In the past, it was kind of confusing because Google Plus failed, and the amount of businesses, when you do this audit, you'll find as you go through, people that are a bit more advanced, they'll still have that G Plus icon on their website, and every time it goes to a broken link, every time, because it can't not go to a broken link, right? Because it doesn't exist anymore. I started to do this, and I was thinking I'll just show you, just generally speaking, because you gave me I'll let you know what it looked like at my end, and we don't need to spend a lot of time on this now, because I think that was the main stuff I wanted to see. How the font style's kicked out.
So I can just go to, what's our font style?
Yeah, so I wonder when I'm in here whether it tells me you're in the right font. I'll show you, right? So on all of the different ones, so when you go into, so this one is a Gotham Media 26.
All right, cool. One sec.
In fact, I'll knock it down so you can see it, right? So that's Gotham Medium as a heading, right? I think that'd just be Gotham Medium as a heading, but in the blue. So when I got them, you get these theme colors up the top, right? I think the theme colors are okay. I don't think that's wrong. I think that seems to have stuck.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's easy enough to do.
And I think even down once you get into here, but again, that's Gotham Medium, and it's just a slightly smaller font style. It's probably it's still under heading, but just a slightly smaller font style. There is something other. I'm sure Helvetica comes into it. There you go. So Helvetica is this, right? Is this part here. So then the main thing that I was going to show you, because this is what I'm doing every time we're doing a proposal, is I can see it's Wayne McCarthy, because then the other thing that knocked out a bit was, and again it's probably font related, but the footnotes and that sort of stuff. So clearly what I do with something like this, I'm using Smoke and Shisha. And by the way, I couldn't find the Word doc for Ones and Twos Plumbing, so you might have saved it as and then PDF'd it, or it's disappeared.
Did I?
Just be wary.
No.
Just be wary of that.
No, did I?
Yeah. I think the good thing is I know that I can always find the PDF copy again, and we don't really need it after that anyway. So this is the way. I don't know if this is what you would normally do, but I'd go Rita Basari, right? I'd find her. I'd replace her. That'll bring it over here, and then I'll go and find my man. I just copy off your document over here, which is Wayne McArthur.
Yeah. Right. So I did this. So
you
it might
probably
be a case
did this. Okay, cool. And then, as I said, and then the only other thing is, because then I'm just proofing it. So then, similarly with instead of Smoke and Shisha, who's last?
Can we just, if you wouldn't mind, could we go to? Do you have my one open?
I have got it open. Yeah. I'm going to talk it through in a second. Yep. I'll just do this part here, and then I've done that too, and then it'll make this document look more like your document. And we'll go Smoke and Shisha and replace all. Right. Okay, so effectively, what often happens, this is pretty common, right? See how it knocks it down a row? So what I tend to do is, I don't want it to knock it down a row because I'm a bit premium on my space. I just go for Wayne, right? Just so you know. And then the rest is your document, by the way. All I've changed so far in this document is what I just showed you then, and what I showed you here, where we've still got website and licensed plumbing. I copied I just use that text edit box, which is, let me find where that is. I'm sorry, my display's messed up.
That's fine. I swear I changed the license plug.
Well, what can happen is
gas
it's
fitting
whatever
service.
you
I
last
swear.
saved as too. You might have, and I do that again. It's not always the fact that you didn't do something. It's actually whether you saved it at the end or whatever the case might be. Sometimes too, right? And look, and as I said, I still find it. I find it actually 3 months after I've done a presentation when I'm going and doing another presentation. So. So it happens. It's not, and generally speaking, again, it's probably a good example of how much they read it, right? And the amount of times I do an audit and consult where they haven't even opened the document, right? Just so you know. Not to say they're all like that, but most of it is done so that we know that we've gone through due diligence as much as anything. So, so what all I did here was just, so the way I find this stuff, and I don't know whether you'd done this, but if I bring this one across, right? So I use hang on, where is it? See here when we do a search for them, they tell us what they are kind of wanting to be known for, right? So we can see it's a professional carpet cleaners in the Kalamunda and Perth Hills region, right? Primarily. It's actually, and then in Swan Valley. So all I did was copy and paste that here. It's a professional carpet cleaning in blah, blah, blah. Because just so you know, that's the main part of the document that changes. Everything else is, come on, baby. Word often plays up. Okay, here we are. So did I copy and paste? So yeah, all I do then is go, okay, well, Ben's missed that one, but that's all right. That's easy enough for me to find. I just put that in. Website and professional carpet cleaning in the Kalamunda and in the Swan Valley. For a lot of clients, when they read that and we've personed it, it's got their logo up the top that's disappeared, whether it's gone. Anyway, it'll come back. I'll put it back. But yeah, there it is. So straight away, even if they only read this part, this is where they go, fuck, that looks good. You know what I mean? It looks, there's an element of like, people are so time poor. He's probably a busy guy. They just want to know that you pretty much capture what he does, right? And ultimately, and I would say here, in fact, you've done it already, right? So you've said attract and retain. Because I was using a different document now, you've already said so let's look at your one now, and then I'll finish it off later. But yeah, you're right. Attract and retain their interest inquiries for carpet cleaning services. Perfect. Don't need to say anything more, right? That's all it is. It's a carpet cleaning business. Great. And so nothing changes through here. It doesn't really matter who the client is, just so you know. It's rare anyway. Sometimes the only thing is what you may have done. Yeah, do they have a bricks and mortar office? Has he got a service centre?
No.
Okay, so most likely the inquiry is going to come from website, phone, or email, right? I'll update your version so I remember to update it on the other version. Right, so Wayne is part of BNI Grapevine.
Yeah.
This is that personal stuff, right? With Ben. This stuff here will be, you'll basically be saying waived, right? If it proceeds. Again, that font's just kicked out. Actually, it's probably something you would just talk it through, but I think usually I'll have that waived in there, but it is an asterisk. He's one that would definitely be waived, right? Because he's through your BNI, he's a small business. We get the business. You get the 2 hours for the consult and the audit anyway, but it's sort of built in a way, right? We want to just do a good job to get him interested in which is what you've done. The other thing is, what we would normally talk about is where do you see him sitting, right? So we give a spread of 220 to 340. My gut feeling generally with these sorts of business, you'd probably pitch it in at an extra small level so that they don't underspend on the ads, right?
So the way which I spoke to him about it was, I was like, hey, Wayne, start off with extra small. And then after 4 months, when you get your 2 reports, we can review. And if you want to stick with extra small, stick with extra small. And if you don't, we'll move you up to a small.
Perfect. Because I would think, in a way, that's the perfect way to do it. The option you have when you do an extra small like this, as I said, because then he knows he's making a save. It's $242 a month. You know, if it's working for him and he sees how great it looks across the channels, see how good he looks after the session, then basically spending $3 to $5 a day on particularly he's got this video coming. Then the strategy would probably be you'd do the video at $3 a day, and probably $2 a day. Maybe for engagement or something along those lines. We're often doing split strategies around nowadays, right? So we're almost 3 plus 3. So you do awareness, so you get big numbers going to the website because of the clicker button, and you get the anyway. That's going too much. But what you're saying here is, look, as I said to you, Wayne, I reckon the best bang for your dollar is do it as an extra small at this stage, because then you can spend a little bit more getting this video out and getting lots of people seeing it. We want to get thousands and thousands of people seeing this video, right? That would be the thing. And we might just do $5 at that, right? That might be all you do. In here, so this becomes you, right? So my details are down here, down the bottom already, right? So marketer at. In here, because this is like a bit like Emily's one. It's through you. Yes, I'm involved, right? Particularly at this stage, but this isn't a Steve Hubbard with Ben. This is a Ben Hale that happens to have the marketer support of head office, right? So I'll update those details to your details. This stuff here you've got right, and yeah, even that's kicked in weird. That's weird. That's even throwing the font styles out there. That's strange. So strange. Anyway, because this is a Word doc too, right? Yeah. So as I said, well done. That's awesome. So that's nothing for me to. It's actually often more for me to fix it if you do more. Does that make sense? Than it is if you just put in the key.
I mean, like, this is just, again, one of the things which I would want to do. Could I have the audit and console that we have, so that has the SWOT and everything like that, and then I'll prepare a separate one for Wayne that has just his image, that for like the separate audit with just like the screenshots of everything. So then we've got the SWOT there for us to go through and be like, okay,
you can maintain it for yourself, but I'd just back in what's worked. As I said, I'm telling you, I don't want you giving out. How long did it take you?
It didn't take me that long. To me, that's probably the same time as it took
Why
me to do a
would
normal
you
audit.
designate a full page to a Facebook logo though?
That was just personal preference again.
Look, and why would you, as I said, from a brand? So I'm a brand marketer right now. Remember again, why would I want to have a cover that's sort of a soft cover? So so there's an element of I'm not going to be an ass about things at the end of the day, but let's do it the way that we know we do it. As you said, as we go, there'll be all sorts of things. And you might come back to me and say, "Oh, Steve, I wish I'd given him more." Right? I doubt it, but I reckon. But my gut feel is, realistically, I'm asking you just to sort of toe the line. Basically, it's how we do it, right? So we've got to. I don't want to do it different in Perth and different for Ben, because otherwise then I have a problem, right? I have a problem across all the marketers if everybody has their own styling on certain things, right? So initially, from an audit perspective, as I said, I think it impresses me. I don't think Wayne would give a shit, ultimately.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So Wayne's probably a really good carpet cleaner. So save yourself time. So even if it didn't take you that much time, it's still taken more time than what I reckon it would take you just to do those 10 or so pages that we did. Where I'd like you to put that other effort is what you can do is in this part here. You know how even with to think about the SWOT analysis. So I'm not sharing my screen, but when you've got those SWOT analysis comments, so they're not in vain, because I think they're all still relevant, right? The SWOT analysis stuff, just copy and paste them into here, right? So, because I'm thinking they're probably relevant to this, right? So, in other words, if you made a note in your SWOT analysis and you were talking about, I don't know, whether it was relevant to Google My Business or whether it was relevant to LinkedIn or whether it was relevant here, this has been done with the other marketers so that they know that they can do an audit. The idea of an audit and consult. So this is timed out. What do we got? Rapport 10 to 15 minutes, right? Audit 15 minutes thereabouts. You talk about the audit, and then you start talking about the proposal at the end. So this is when we talk about the proposal, we start at the model. So then you're bringing the audit into the model, right? So remember what I was just talking to you about? This is what you'd be saying to Wayne. What I was talking to you about, as far as your LinkedIn and where you do your proofing, this is because this is the model that we're using, where all those 6 profiles are really important for us in our model, right? So then you start at the bottom, and then you go back to the top of the proposal where you start talking about, so this is what we're going to do for you, Wayne. So at the moment, I've told you about that. So you just do this first page, and then you were going, and today's, if you proceed, today's waived anyway. So basically, if you go ahead with this, which we hope you do, then there's no charge for today. We won't send you an invoice. If you choose not to go with us, then head office will send you an invoice, right? Because we don't do stuff for free. And I'm sure you understand there's plenty of tire kickers out there, right? And so this is what you're paying for. So basically, this is a 3 + 2 hour session where we spend 5 hours together. I know that sounds like a lot of time. We don't need to be together the entire time, Wayne. If you get a call, you got a job, whatever, then sure, there's probably what we really need to have you probably is that first hour and a half of the setup and that first hour or so of the planning so that we can really make sure you understand what we're trying to achieve, right? But I've often surprised, whilst they are tired by the end of it, they usually do stick through it from start to finish because they understand and they're thankful. I was saying to someone today, or maybe yesterday, like I was shit scared when I had to do the setup and planning session for Roy. He kind of forewarned me. There's no fucking way I'm doing 5 hours. Can't do 5 hours. He stuck through every minute, and he was a gentleman, and he was awesome, right? I was like, man, that has kind of blew me away. It was fantastic. So anyway. So but for a tradie and for an old guy, that's a long time, and they are dizzy by the end, right? By the end of that day, just so you know. And then, as you said, you've already talked about that, and then then it's to them. So, so that's the audit, that's our model, and that's what we're going to do. You got any questions around there? Any feedback, right? And it might be simple. Fuck, Ben, I just want you to get on with it, right? Okay, well, great. Thanks, Wayne. When would suit you? I've got next Tuesday, or I've got next Thursday or Friday, or whatever it is that suits you best. You say that's the next step. It's just a matter of telling me a time that's going to suit you, and we'll set that aside. So if you want to tell me now, that's great. I'll write that down, and we'll do the calendar invite, and we'll take you through the next steps. Yeah.
Yeah, works for me.
Yeah, so that could be the case with this one. It could be just a sort of sometimes it would be fair to say that plenty of clients are already sold. You don't, and I've had plenty of people say, Steve, you don't need to sell me. I don't get what you're saying. Just do it. You know what I mean? So there is an element of that. Some people just want Ben to do it and just get on with it, Ben, right? So, okay, cool. And so then you can cut yourself. You don't have to go into too much depth around it all, the model and all that sort of stuff, right? Because really, as I said, they already expect you're a specialist. They already think you're an expert. Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. Well, I'll knock this back to you in the next 15 minutes or so, or I'll just save it in there. I can't for the life of me get rid of the page. So again, you might finish up sending him the full version, but it'll just have the first 11 pages in the priority order that I've just done for you. Because at the moment I can't delete those back pages. I can reorder them. And even when I save as, it's not saving it as what it says it's saved as.
Type into Google PDF to Word, convert it to a Word document, delete the pages, and save it as a PDF.
Okay, yeah.
So
PDF. If you get how you do it, yeah. Okay. What are you using?
I literally just type into Google PDF to Word, and it will, and it's the top site there.
Okay.
It will literally, and then you just upload your document into it, and then it will convert it, and then you download it, and then you make your edits to it.
That's probably a good idea for the. In fact, I'm going to PDF to Word, and what I'll do is I'll just copy and paste the link into our little copy box to know that that's how you and I are doing it for the audit side of things. Three, I won't use an add one. I'll use another one.
It should be.
There you go. 100% free platform.
Yeah. Wait. Hold on a sec.
I've got this
Are
one
you
here.
Are you still sharing screen? Yeah.
Am I? Yeah.
Oh wait. Yeah, you are. Just one sec. Go back.
Okay.
So one's PDF. So I just want to see which one you've actually used, because
I went for the top non-search one, a non-add one.
Go to this. It's the second one that I use.
This one, PDF to doc. Okay.
Yeah, PDF to doc. That's the one I use. The first one, like I tried to use it, and it was like you can only upload so many times before they ask you to pay.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny with the different ones. Even similarly, when you're downloading, I've got different ones. I've copied links for videos. You know, when you want to download video. And
yeah.
And then,
if you want a good trick with downloading videos from YouTube, if you get the YouTube channel, if you get the URL, if you type magic in between you and tube, it will take you to a download link.
Oh, really?
You can download. Yeah, you can download it for free. Okay. I'm gonna make sure that still works, because that's how I got.
I'll put it in there. But as you said, maybe I can, when I knock it back to you, I'll just knock it back as an email. So even what I might do is just give you, as I said, so just to make sure you've got a template around what you might say. Hi, Michael. Thanks again. Please find attached, blah, blah, blah. Let me know when you're available for me to talk it through. But I'll copy and paste a bit of a template as well into this document for you, right? So that you then have the email to send him with the documents. Yeah?
Yeah, so I'll send through the proposal. So I send through the proposal. I said I'd send him through the brochure again so he can read through it again. But I don't think.
Yeah. So you just forward him the forward. Where am I? Sorry, where are we on? Where are we? I can't work out where the hell we are.
Give it just a sec. Oh, 2 seconds, Steve.
No worries. Yeah.